Hi there, this is Nicole. Welcome back to my channel. Today we have a quick tip with the Brother ScanNCut. I wanted to show how to die cut images that don't have a black outline. So all of these same steps would be for if you have a black outline image, but I was using these recent images from the Simon Says Stamp May 2022 card kit. And I'm going to speed through this, but everything else is going to be real time to show you what settings I use on the Brother ScanNCut. I by no means am an expert at all with the ScanNCut, but if you are wanting to use it kind of like the way I use it, hopefully this will help you. So these are the images I'm using. I did leave this in the video because I think it's kind of important to show. I did not realize that it would die cut images that don't have a black outline as well as it does. And I was with some girlfriends back in January and they gave it a try and it worked so great that I thought I would share it here. Even with leafy images that are delicate like this. I do want to mention with the ScanNCut, if you have an image that has a separation, meaning a white space. So this little flower I'm stamping here actually does not completely connect to the center of the flower. Not each individual petal connects. That can be a problem, and I'm going to show you a super easy way to make it die cut, and then with just like a little pencil line, and then you can erase it later. This is a really great way if you don't have coordinating dies. At the time of filming this video, I did not have the coordinating dies for this stamp set. And so it made it super easy to be able to die cut them, as this is not something I would ever fussy cut. And if you don't want to figure out masking or other ways of using a stamp set similar to this, and you want to do some die cutting without the actual dies, I hope that this is helpful for you guys as well. I'm going to actually stamp this small flower again. So that's the same flower I just stamped, but I am stamping it, or maybe it's a different one. I can't tell. But neither one of them connect in the center, at least not to all of the petals. Here is the Brother ScanNCut I have. I have linked this one that I have, the version I have, that's what I want to say, down below. I like to use the stylus. I have folded out the tray. You can bring up your screen which is what I do when I'm actually using it. For the purposes of this video though, I am not going to, because I do not think you're going to be able to see what I'm doing. I'm only going to lift it a little bit. And then there is a tray in the back that I'm going to pull out that helps with that carrier sheet. We're going to let it come on. I push the power button and it's taking a minute. I also have my carrier sheet, and I'm going to take the little spatula that comes with the machine, and I'm scraping off some of the little excess pieces of paper from the last time I cut out some images. I apparently didn't clean it very well. When you put your carrier sheet in your machine, it reads all of that little text stuff up at the top. I don't even know what to call it. Barcode maybe. You want to load it with the purple arrow going into the machine. You can place your stamped images anywhere on the carrier sheet. I'm going to line it up with the rollers. There's some little notches on either side for your carrier sheet. And then the middle button on the machine is going to load it. And I want it to load, so I'm going to push OK. And there we go. It's loading into the machine. And it'll kind of go in and out. I like to make sure my cardstock is very good and attached, so I'm just pressing it down in place. I'm going to fold this down again. I know it's might be a little hard to see. Hopefully laying it down. I'm going to push scan, direct cut, and I'm going to push my ScanNCut machine and start. This is going to take the carrier sheet and it is going to scan whatever you have on the carrier sheet, in this case, my little scanned images, but it's scanning the entire sheet. So when this comes up on the screen, you'll see what I mean, because it's going to scan like any of the little previous cuts on the carrier sheet and things like that. Let's zoom in just a tiny bit to see what I'm doing better. I'm going to move that over for you as well. So here is what I've scanned. I'm going to push OK. And when I do that, look at the mess. You can see the drop down arrows in the top left and bottom right. I'm simply going to pull this up to the only images on the carrier sheet I'm concerned about. That's going to eliminate a lot of that mess. And I'm going to click preview. So now it's only reading this particular area, which is what I want. So I'll push OK. And it's going to process. Now it's going to pick up a few things. I'm going to push that little circle. I want to have a slight white border around, so I will push that once. Then I'm going to click edit, and I want to remove anything I don't want to die cut. So I'm going to simply touch any of the things I don't want to cut and place them in the trash can. And the flower that I forgot to draw little pencil lines on, I'm going to choose not to cut. So I actually placed that in the trash can as well. Now, depending on how dirty your carrier sheet is, mine has been used a few times, so it has some stuff. I actually had to erase quite a lot. You don't always have to erase quite this much, but I just don't want my machine to think it needs to cut any of these like little lines and things. So anything you don't want to cut, you can go ahead and click on. Honestly, I should have done this. I completely forgot. What's easier is pushing the arrow buttons right there underneath select and removing it. I did have to angle it up to see better. It was glaring so bad with my studio lighting. All I'm doing is removing anything I don't want to cut. So sometimes it doesn't want to pick that up. Push the arrows, you guys. I don't know why I wasn't thinking. I think here when I share, I hope I shared this in the video, I'm going to show drawing some little pencil lines on those smaller flowers so that they cut correctly. Okay, that looks good. So we are going to go ahead and cut these. Let me move my machine back out a little bit. I think I'm going to zoom out. Please let me zoom out. So you can see what we're doing. I have to rearrange all of the things since the machine is quite large. I do not keep this out all of the time. I'm going to push OK, and the glare is terrible. Dang it. Let me see. Yes, there we go. So I'm going to, where it says please select, I'm going to click this. And we're going to choose cut, and it's going to come up, and we'll click start, and it is going to start cutting my images. I do tend to take my fingers and hold on to my cardstock, especially if my carrier sheet is not brand new. I have a really hard time walking away. I've had it mess up before. If you have had a silhouette, maybe even a Cricut, although I'm not super familiar with Cricut, so I can't say, but I used to do a lot of die cutting with the silhouette, and I was like this with that as well. When your sheet becomes a little less sticky, it can shift at times, and so I like to kind of stand or sit right there, whatever the case may be, and just make sure my cardstock isn't moving so that I can immediately remove it in case there's a problem. Because I didn't choose those two smaller flowers to cut, it is going to just go ahead and avoid those. It won't cut them because we said, please don't cut these. It's going to cut everything else. I do highly recommend before you remove your carrier sheet or anything, slightly lift up the corner of your cardstock and make sure that it cut all the way through. If it did not cut all the way through, cut it again. So once we are here, I'm going to push OK, OK. I'm going to take it out. We're going to check it. Now, with these, there you can see how it cut around all of these so nicely. These two small flowers, I am going to take a pencil and I'm very, very lightly going to just around the center draw a tiny little line from each petal to each petal. Very light, it's not even super perfect, but this is going to allow you to die cut that flower so easily. I am going to reload this. I did go ahead and delete, or I'm going to delete everything I had already in there. Because I removed the carrier sheet, I really need to rescan it so that it cuts correctly. We're going to start again with direct cut. We're going to push the ScanNCut machine. I'm going to load the carrier sheet. If I hadn't removed it, I could have probably just cut those flowers, but I did remove it so that it was easier to see on camera. I'm scanning. I push the scan. It's going to read my images again. We're basically going to have to completely start over, but hopefully maybe the repetition and just showing you the steps I take will be helpful. I'm going to drag those arrows again just to around the images we want to cut. I'm going to click preview, and then we need to start removing things. So let's go ahead and click here. I am going to do edit first, and I'm simply going to use my arrows and go through and delete everything I don't need to cut. I don't need to recut any of those other images. I've not removed them from my cardstock yet. And because I don't need to remove them, I don't want to cut them in case the machine didn't scan them the way it did before. So we're removing everything but those two flowers. And if you use the arrows to go around, it's slightly easier. We just want to make sure the only things highlighted are those two flowers. Let's see. I really don't think I got smarter here in this video. I thought I did. And remember to use the arrows because it really is easier to delete. You can just skip. If you don't want to delete a certain thing, you just kind of keep pushing the arrow and delete it. I could have probably gone in a little tighter as well. All right, now I'm going to click the circle. We're going to click the plus sign once. It's going to be 0.04, which leaves you about the same distance that a die would leave you. We're going to click OK. It's going to process. We're going to click the please select, cut, and it is going to cut those two flowers when we click start. I'm going to just use my finger very lightly. You don't want to pull on it. Just kind of helping guide and hold it in place. And the machine is going to cut around those flowers. It does tell you the estimated time to cut, which I think is kind of nice. And I don't know what I clicked here. I might have clicked something, but it actually double cuts the flowers, which is totally fine. That is something I always like to do with my silhouette machine too, just so I always had a really good cut. And as soon as this is done cutting, I am going to remove the carrier sheet from my machine. I am going to shut the machine down, move it out of the way, and then I'm going to pull off all of my images from the carrier sheet and give you a little close-up as well as how I clean up those pencil lines on my images. And that's going to be it. Really quick, easy. I think it's amazing that it will die cut your scanned images like this that are solid stamped images, not an outline image. It will do outline images exactly the same way. So I've pulled some of them off already. Let's just pull the rest of these. Careful, careful. You can also use the little spatula tool, especially if your carrier sheet is super sticky. And here are some of those images. Look at that great die cutting. You definitely want to click that little 0.04, the little plus sign. That's going to give you the white outline. Otherwise, it's going to cut right on the line, which is probably not what you're going to want. I've not had great results with that. And then little flowers and things. Let me zoom in a bit, and I'm going to show you those pencil lines because I think it's glaring and not showing great. I'm going to take this mono sand eraser, and I'm just going to very lightly go over those pencil lines in the center to remove them. They don't have to be very dark. I used a super light hand with those pencil lines. But look at that. Perfect die cutting. I can't say enough great things about the Brother ScanNCut. I cannot believe that I put off buying one for so long. Because I think it really does help. Now, you're not going to get the exact same die cutting that you get with metal dies, but I find it a fantastic solution. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this brief tutorial on using the Brother ScanNCut. If you have other requests or questions that I can answer, drop me a comment, let me know. I would be happy to do another video if you would like to see it. So let me know. Thank you to all of my Patreon members. You guys are amazing. Thank you, thank you. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit the like button and don't forget to click the notification bell so you always are notified when I have a new video here on YouTube. I appreciate you guys so very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.